right. So, uh, I mean, I know you lost your, just lost your game, but
Hmm.
how's your tournament been in general?
I can't complain too much. I think I'm playing pretty good chess for the most part. I prepared as hard as I could, and I'm calculating fairly well. It's just in a couple of critical moments, just missing some important tactics, and that's got the best of me. That's how I lost my two games so far. But the three wins that I had were pretty clean, so pretty happy with that, and still 5 games to play. So just
Right,
happy to play chess again. So.
right. And you've played like Mark Plotkin several times. You've probably played like a lot of these, a lot of the competition
Hmm.
several times, right?
Yep.
Um, I mean, I mean, how does that affect your game if you know the player?
Yeah, it's interesting because sometimes you think about an opening that you already played in the past and you're wondering, should I go down that same line and just prepare it deeper, or should I prepare a brand new line and just dodge some preparation? So I think it's on a case by case basis. You look at the recent games and you see what their style's like, and you make a judgment call. Like today, I had to make a judgment call. Like, do I go into some complicated line, but it's maybe one of the best tries for an advantage, and try to get an advantage, or do I just try to play a slightly more solid line and accept that I'm not going to get a big advantage, but try to avoid a tactical skirmish? And I decided to go for the former, and I think I got a great position. And then once the tactical skirmish came, I just wasn't able to navigate it properly. So that's the way it went this time. It's not to say that's going to happen every time, but yeah,
Oh,
sometimes against players that are very inclined tactically, like Mark, it's tough to play those positions. But you know, I like a nice complicated game. If I lose, I lose. I learned something.
right.
So anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in terms of like you mentioned a lot of opening preparation,
Mhm.
and Plotkin always talks about how he doesn't really believe, or I don't want to misquote him, doesn't really believe in preparation.
Mhm.
Uh, I mean, what do you think of that?
Well, I think that chess is a very rich game, and there are many different approaches that you can take to the game. Like some players really enjoy sitting down and going into the openings in depth, and other players just like to freestyle and just be creative at the board. So I don't think there's any like correct approach necessarily to the game. It's like chess is what you make it, so you can choose to spend a lot of time in the opening lab, you can choose to just spam blitz games, you can choose to review master games, so for me personally, I've always put a lot of emphasis on good opening preparation. I like to, understand the positions in advance. I find it helps save time during the game if you already have a good foundation of where the pieces should be going. But for somebody like Mark, he's played probably tens of thousands of blitz games and bug house games and crazy house games. So he's very tactically inclined. So he can, calculate himself out of a bad situation. Somebody else might not find that so easy, to play like a worse position every game. They're going to lose. But even those players, like sometimes you can get away with that for so long, and then as you're trying to climb the rating ladder, you reach a wall
Right.
somewhere, and you have to become more universal, I think, at some point. So I think we're both sort of experiencing that in a way,
Okay.
whereas like I'm very stubborn about my openings and I want to make sure I'm very well prepared and like unpredictable, but then I lose to tactics sometimes. Whereas Mark, sometimes, he wins these nice tactical games, but then other times he just gets blown out of the water in the opening and then can't save himself. So I feel like now we need to work on, he needs to work on his openings, and I need to work more on tactics if we want to get to that next level. I think you can't just, in this day and age, you have to be a bit more universal
Yeah.
to become a great chess player, right? Especially like with Chessable and access to information. Like you definitely have to put some additional work in, I think, compared to before. Before you could freestyle and your opponents weren't ultra well prepared, but these days, if you look at some of these games in the tournament, like if you look at Bator's games, for example, you see how deep his preparation is. Move 20, 25, move 30 sometimes. That's a guy who's putting in the work, you know? So anyways, to each his own, but I know what I need to work on personally, which is tactics. I'm trying my best, but it's a long road, you know?
You're 2000 plus. You've mentioned tactics so many times.
Mm-hmm.
Like for the 2000 plus player, what does that look like?
To work on tactics,
Yeah.
you mean? So I'm still trying to discover that myself. Like, obviously, there's like the puzzle rushes, you know, the puzzle storms, you know, that you can do. I personally don't find that very enjoyable. I know a lot of people do, like some kids, for example, who can just spam puzzle rush and puzzle storm all day. I don't have so much patience for that. So I don't know. I think playing games is very important. Playing like a high number of games and just blundering as many times as you can, like when preparing for the tournament, and then going and analyzing those games and just exposing yourself to as many motifs as you can. But I think something can be said for studying the top level games as well. Like I'm not just saying like 2700 plus, but like open tournaments. These days you can there's a broadcast for any top open tournaments in Europe. You can go follow. You can check the typical blunders that are made at like maybe look at the at the level that's like maybe 1 to 200 points above your rating. You know, and you can see what are the tactics that these guys are blundering. Okay, so maybe if I can get better at not blundering those types of tactics, then maybe I can slowly get up there as well. Anyways, that's what I'm thinking right now. I'm just reflecting on like different ways, you know, to improve tactics. But I think it's just about knowing as many ideas as possible.
Interesting.
So
In terms of you know, when you entered the tournament, what was your ambition? Like, what did you want to achieve in this tournament? And has that changed? Are you...
well, honestly, it's my first tournament in a few months. So like usually I'm used to playing like one tournament a month or something like this, but I took a bit of a break. I was in Spain playing a couple of tournaments and I got sick in Spain and just it didn't end well, so I was like, I just want to take a little bit of a break. I was exhausted and you know, just wanted to take some time to really reflect on my game and just improve as much as I can, you know. But when I'm coming into this, I saw the Zonal is in March. It's a tournament that I always want to play in, right? It's the pinnacle of Canadian chess. It's the Canadian Championship, you know. So I didn't have any real expectations coming into it. I just want to play 10 quality chess games, you know, and see what happens. Like obviously my goal eventually is to become IM, get from FM to IM, but I understand that's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen when you want it to happen. You just got to put the work in, and if the results come, they come. If they don't, back to the drawing board. You know, it's like you can't have this result first mentality. You know, these days you're just going to disappoint yourself, and that's not good for your mental health either, right?
Yeah, and how do you have a good mental? I mean, you must, right? Like at this level, right? There's a lot of pressure. There are no easy games.
Mm-hmm. I didn't. I mean, I won't say I have a great mental for sure. My friends who know me will tell you the same. Probably, I'm one of the more emotional players that they know, but it's something I'm actively trying to work on. I think I'm doing a pretty good job of that so far this tournament. Like in the past, if I just threw a completely winning position, I would be like livid right now. Like the game just ended like half an hour ago or something, right? So.
Interview.
No interview. Yeah, like get out of my face. You know? Yeah, one thing that I've learned with time is that it takes a lot of energy to be mad. If you want to get frustrated and just really sulk, you know, in your misery, you're taking all of that energy out of yourself and you're not going to be in a good position to play the next game, especially in these double round days. You know, so after the tournament, maybe I will sulk a little bit and I'll go and be like, man, what is going on, you know, in these games? But during the tournament, I'm learning is not the time to like really punish yourself for these mistakes. So that's something that I'm trying to work on.
Right, right. I mean, it really is a sportsman's mentality, right?
Yeah.
You know, the tournament is still going on. Everything to play for. You know, we can't think about anything. You know, it's like making a bad move. You know, you can't think of it as a bad move. Well, I won't take any more of your time. Thank you so much for sitting down with us. Yeah, good luck with with the rest of the tournament. Yeah.
Thanks a lot for having me.
Okay.